Keep me up on detail.
Okay. All right, Queen, I'm turning it over to you.
Okay.
Oh, well, hold on. Wait, what happened?
Make me the host.
Make me the host. Wait, where you at? Okay, hold on. And all right, Charlie, as soon as I do this, go ahead and begin to add everybody into the room.
All right. I'm the captain now.
Uh-oh.
Admit all. Let's go. All right, here we go. Let's give everybody a minute to join and get their audio. And I do a lot of Zoom meetings, so I'm going to ask if you can get Zoom ready and turn your cameras on. It'd be nice if we could make this interactive. I don't want it to just be a lecture because I'm going to ask you questions. And if you don't want your camera on the whole time, if when you're speaking to me, thank you, Joshua. When you're speaking to me or you're speaking in general, just turn your camera on for us so we could get a chance to see how you are. And I got a saying, if you in the bonnet, we accept the bonnet gang. So don't worry about it. Just come on and let's engage and have a good workshop. There we go. Thank you, Jareka. People who follow instructions. Yes. My aim is to bless y'all today. All right, we will get, there we go. We got more people coming in. We'll go ahead and get started in a minute. Let me give the same instructions as people come in. Let's do this in an engaging manner. Just to start off, my name is Charlie Bingham. I am, among other things, I'm an attorney at Microsoft. So I'm one of these tech unicorns. I'm also a writer. I publish a partial memoir, a part about my life, the death of Mr. Good Game, my struggle to get sober, and a philanthropist, investor, a bunch of things. I'm also a believer, and so that's going to come through in the instructions. And in my book, I kept a journal when I was a grad student at Morgan State University. It was a very dark period in my life. Was depressed and just going through fighting a real spiritual battle. And for those of you who've kind of fought these spiritual battles or are aware that you're fighting a spiritual battle, because I would contend we all fighting spiritual battles. Sometimes you just need somebody to talk to. I didn't have that, and so I started writing a journal, and so that's what my book is based off of. But years later, I can look back now at that, and I realized I was really dealing with some generational curses. Sometimes you end up doing the very same things that you hate that generations before you did, and I just couldn't figure it out. And so what I hope you will learn in this workshop is how to kind of confront your past, to assess your strengths and weaknesses. You got to keep it real with yourself. And one thing I learned when I was writing is, look, I can't lie. If to myself, you're just not being real. If you were smoking, or you had a failed day, or you fail again spiritually or physically by making some mistakes at work, you got to keep it real with yourself. You can't lie. But in that assessment, you really do find your kind of superpower. And we're going to discuss strategies to kind of overcome some of the generational curses that kind of may serve as kryptonite that'll keep you from fully recognizing your superpower. So first off, I think it's best if we level set. And again, for all of the people, if you can come on camera, we're going to talk together. When you guys hear generational curses, before I kind of give you my definition, what do you think of? Let's make sure we're all, as they say in the old school, singing from the same sheet music. And if you're camera shy or you don't want to speak out loud, we can interact with the chat as well.
I
Poverty.
think of. Oh, go ahead, Lysandra. Lysandra.
That was Brittany. I said
Brittany.
Sorry,
poverty.
Brittany. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brittany. He's being a gentleman.
Thank you. Poverty. That's what comes to mind.
Okay.
I think of like poverty associated mindsets, like maybe like bitterness or resentment or stuff like that.
Okay.
I would say learn things, whether they be right or wrong, things that you've learned that you don't really know how to get out of because it's all you know.
Okay. And I'm keeping kind of notes in the chat. You guys are hitting it. I like what you all said, but I'm going to zero in on the poverty mindset and the learned behaviors as well, because that's something that I realized that I was dealing with being from Milwaukee. If anybody knows anything about Milwaukee, and most people don't, they typically ask me, is there Black people there? There's a new documentary, growing up Milwaukee, and that's one of the most incarcerated places for Africa, and it's the worst place for African American men in the nation. You either die or you go to jail. The rest of Wisconsin, I tell people, is like jails, and they got to fill them. That's how they make their money, just targeting the ghettos. And I'm from that place. The poverty mindset is definitely something. Brittany, I know you said not relying on your spouse or partner, I think has been a sore spot in my family. Yep. Feeling like you need to be independent or strong. Some of the things that I dealt with was misogyny. So again, from the culture that I'm from, very different from this culture now, because I'm in Atlanta, and it's like, I call it tricking. Tricking is the thing to do. You go to the strip club, throw all your money out. I was from the opposite. It was pimping. You had men who weren't really, I'll say you had males who were relying on women, and that was like the it thing to do. You know, you live with the woman, you send her out to work, take all of her money. I call it pole pimping. Just not being really loving. This poverty mindset of repeating things, wanting nice things, and not understanding true generational wealth, leaving something for those after you. And I'm sure many of us could relate where, somebody has lived in our family, and when they die, there's no money to bury them. And so you got to get together and try to raise the funds. And this causes issues, generational issues throughout the family, because the one that has to pay for it is feeling salty, but then the one who ain't got no money to put up is the one hollering over the casket and acting a fool at the funeral. I've seen all of that. I've lived through that. I've experienced it. And so you guys did a good job. Those are kind of like generational curses. And so what I want to do is first kind of walk you guys through some of, it's kind of like 7 overarching themes that will help you. And if you have the ability to take notes, you could take notes. This is also a part of my second book. Is going to be a trilogy, the memoir. I got one out, and the first one is about learning how to heal. And so I'm giving you guys a sneak peek into the second book of learning how to thrive. How do you deal with all of this mess that you're going through, the situation that you found yourself born into, and kind of survive. And I tell people, by the grace of God, I am a survivor of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. For those, again, who've seen, I can only go back to refer to growing up Milwaukee, because I've had a lot of people who have said, wow. And I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of pain in our communities. And so let's start. The first one, how to confront your past to kind of assess your strengths and weaknesses. Again, you got to keep it real with yourself. And in keeping it real with yourself, you have to ask, what have I been through? Some of us have been through hell, and we may not share with everybody in a corporate environment. You don't just come out spilling your business like, oh, I was, and this is one of the examples from growing up Milwaukee. I was raped by my uncle at 13 years old, but my mom and my family didn't believe me, or they cared about my uncle, didn't want him to go to jail. So this was like a hush hush secret. You have those types of things. So you have to be honest with yourself. Sometimes we kind of black out and put things in our background. So in trying to confront your past to assess your strengths and weaknesses, you want to think about and probably write down, what have you been through? What has been a hard point about your life? What have you overcome in the past? What do you need to forgive yourself for? What are you still struggling with? And that forgiveness thing is a really big issue. Sometimes when we, and I'm going to keep referring to movies because that's general. It's a shameless plug. I would tell you to go get my book, and then you will see some of the things that I've dealt with, and I'll give you some a few examples. But I really struggled with being a pimp, basically. As I was going back and reading my memoirs, I'm like, man, you was a savage, manipulative, chauvinistic person. Why would you ever share this information? Like, and we all have these things that we've done. It's kind of like a running joke that if people had met you when you were coming out of high school or going to college between that age of 18 to 25, or even if you didn't go to college, we all know there was some things and some behaviors that we've had and participated in that we wouldn't want everybody to know. But for yourself, you can't block those out, because this is how you're going to figure out what your superpower is. God sends you certain situations, and when you survive those certain situations, sometimes it may be your purpose, or it may be your superpower to help guide others through that may be going through that similar experience. And so kind of the first step after you've documented this is you got to embrace acceptance. You are who you are. Your experiences are your experiences. And, you got to accept your own. Part of finding your purpose is accepting your own limitations. And instead of getting frustrated with yourself, sometimes you got to give yourself a break, get to know yourself a bit. And I think this quarantine and this pandemic has forced a lot of people to deal with themselves. I tell my son a lot of times, hey man, if you're not your best company, if you can't be alone and be good with that, there's a problem there, son. You need to get to know yourself. And so that's what I would encourage you all to do. You also got to take ownership of your life. Sometimes, because of the horror that we've had in the past experiences, we want to blame previous generations. And that leads to, let me scroll back up in the chat. Some of the things that we said that we've gone through, or this mindset when we talk about generational curses, is bitterness. You bitter at your parents for not protecting you. You bitter at your parents for being poor. Why they couldn't figure things out? Why did they live here? Why did I have to go through all of this violence and all of this stuff? Why did you marry dad? Or why did you have this baby daddy, or this husband, or this boyfriend, or dad? Why did you choose this wife who left us, or whatever? Those learned behaviors, you can be bitter. And so you got to take ownership of it. Like, it is what it is. I can either wallow in pity, or I can make a resolution that I'm going to do better. And we see this time and time again, especially in the ghetto. And I'm sorry, y'all, if I'm trying to connect. I grew up in the ghetto, so I know ghetto issues. And so if I keep referencing that, that's why. I can only speak to what I know. On ghetto things, I am an expert. We see two things happen in the ghetto and people who go through hardship. You either use it as an excuse and you fall to your environment. Yeah, I'm a killer, I'm a gangster, because that's all I knew. Or you see the opposite, where people make a resolution. I'm not going to be that. Thankfully, I didn't grow up in an environment where I had my parents telling me you ain't ish and you ain't never gonna be ish, all of that stuff. I do know, however, I had friends, very close friends, whose parents always told them that. In that situation, we see, and you may have heard stories before, you have people who either succumb to that, like, yo, them low expectations, I'm gonna meet those low expectations. Or you got those people who say, all right, I'm gonna prove you wrong. And they go on to do great things. But that's taking ownership of your life. As soon as you get finished blaming everybody else, because that take time and negative energy, this is going to help you find your superpower. And then the third step under this is how to confront your past to assess your strengths and weaknesses. Write out your story. That, again, I shared with you when I went back and wrote looked at what I wrote, what I realized is, man, you were healing yourself. This was therapy. And, there's a stigma on mental health. And really, I was a broke student in Baltimore. So it wasn't like I could go to a counselor or a therapist to talk and sit on their couch and talk my things out. Things got to keep moving. But within ourselves, we can heal ourselves by writing out kind of our story. So I'll pause there for a second, see if anybody got questions or comments, but that's the first step. You got to confront your past to assess your strengths and weaknesses. All right, going once, going twice. And I always tear up her name. And you guys know who I'm talking about. She has the show. She was on the Red Table with Jada and Will. Iyanla, y'all know, Vazant. Van Zant, thank you. Anything and everything you have experienced has been purposeful. It has brought you to where you are now. And I'm a firm believer of that. So if you went through some trauma, and I tell my students all the time, don't ask why me. Sometimes we sulk in this, why me, man? Why I have to go through this? And again, the right mentality to have is, why not? I'm strong enough. You have to look at yourself and say, look, he put this on me because my shoulders is strong. I'm special. And that's the mindset you have to have when you're going through hell to survive it. All right. So you got to begin each day as if it were on purpose. You've been given each day, and you have to have that mindset when you wake up. Napoleon Hill said there's one quality which one person must possess to win, and that is the definitiveness of purpose, the knowledge of what you want, and a burning desire to possess it. If you want riches, wake up every morning thinking, I'm going to get riches. If you want peace, wake up every morning thinking, you know what, I'm going to maintain my peace. No matter what you're going through, this is how you overcome these generational curses. And I told you guys, I'm a believer, so I'm coming from a Christian background. Jeremiah 1:5 says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you a prophet to the nations. And then Jeremiah 29:11 says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. If you spend a little time in church, I'm sure you're probably familiar with these passages. That's how we have to live if we're going to overcome some of these generational curses. And I can tell you, in my book, I talk about this. Eventually, I had to print out scriptures, kind of like if you saw the BET show Mary Jane, where she goes in her bathroom, she got all these sticklets. That's how I had to do. I had to surround myself with positive thinking. There's this saying, so I'm a tech attorney and handle artificial intelligence and all of this stuff. Garbage in, garbage out. You put good things in, you're going to get good things out. And what a lot of people do not realize is we are in a spiritual war. As Joshua, I'm looking at you and Byron, but my sisters, you all understand this as well, especially for a Black man. Physically, we understand there's a target on our back every time we leave our door. There is a group of people, or there's a lot of groups of people that just really have us targeted. They don't like us. We are a threat for whatever reason. We understand that. We got to also understand in the spiritual realm, look, Satan is a roaring lion. He is looking to destroy us, and that battle is fought in our mind. And so you got to protect your mind. I hope I don't get too preachy, but I tell my students, I lead a college ministry at my church, and I tell my students Look at how Jesus fought this spiritual battle. When he got led to the desert after 40 days of fasting, Satan tried to tempt him with the pride of life, the lust of flesh, and the lust of the eyes. And each time he countered with a scripture. We got to put something in us. If you're not a believer, at least it got to be positive affirmations to counter and slap down some of these negative thoughts. You start blaming your mom or your dad for this situation. You got to have something in your head that says, look, no, it's not their fault. They to some extent, some of our parents did the best they could, even though they were terrible with what they had, because they didn't have someone to come along and show them the ropes. I also mentor a lot of boys, and I tell them manhood is often assumed, but is seldom taught. Our black men, they not learning how to be black men. A lot of times they're raised by single mothers. And so it's no surprise to me when we see some of the things that we see in the news. And if you still live in the ghetto, some of the things that we see going on in the ghetto. I have empathy and sympathy for them. So how to master your superpower to build generational wealth. Here's the tricks, and I'm going to run them down. So if you're taking notes, and then I'm going to come back and elaborate on them. The first one is you got to find your passion. The second one is you got to find your purpose. The third one is then you have to share your passion and your purpose with the world. The fourth one is you got to master self-control. The fifth one is you got to master self-awareness. And the seventh one is you have to master your fears. And you guys let me know if you need me to slow down. And the eighth one is you got to master listening and observing. And then finally, you got to master the skill of gaining influence. And that's the game right there. That is the game. I'm struggling on my title if it should be arrogantly, because people have different definitions of success. My definition is peace and security and joy. Some people may be is to be a billionaire or whatever, but I'm struggling with the title of, you know, the keys to life or the keys to success, something along that. I may have a play on the word game. I'm trying to figure it out, but those are really the major chapters right there. And that's what I found after going back and looking at my life, what it is. And I'm telling you, people say they get it out the mud. I literally got it out the mud and I'm good now. I lived in a place called Waynesboro, Mississippi, where we didn't have running water for a year. And so we had to get our water from a creek that ran through some red dirt. Joshua, I see you came off. So I literally got it out the mud. Let's talk to me, brother.
No, I was honestly just gonna say I like the three elements that you said that you your version of success for the title. I think you said joy, peace, and security. And what was the last one? Security. Yeah, I think that would be a great title.
Thank you, Lysandra. She gave me another one, Master Key to Success. I like it. Thank you, guys. I love this interaction. So let's go into them. Let's dive, because I came straight from work, so I'm not sure exactly how much time, but I want to make sure I give you all the best that I can give you in the time that I have with you. And feel free to come off mute and let's talk. I could pay attention and see when somebody comes off mute, and I'll zip it for a minute. Find your passion is number one. Passion is a strong desire that can get you to do amazing things and help bring about the greatest results in your life. This is an emotion to be acted upon. It can push you through difficult times because you don't care what it takes to become better. You're just passionate about this. Without action, passion yields no worthwhile results. You could be passionate about a lot of things, but if you don't act on it, it's not going to bring you anything. So when you think about passion, the way I'm using it, it's the fuel and the fire of action. This is what makes you to act. When you have passion for something, you love it, even when you hate it. If you talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, the entrepreneur life is hard. I'm also a serial entrepreneur, but I'm so passionate about it. On top of everything that I got to do working for the man at Microsoft, I always find time. And here's one of these. I forget the name of the movie. Don't be a menace while drinking your juice in the hood. They come in like, message. Here's one of those messages. Don't spend 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours building somebody else's dream every day and never set aside some time to build your own dream. Don't let these folks wear you out. That's what they have done to our community as a whole. We've been so busy chasing the bag that we haven't focused on the things that matter. I got another slogan. I believe in keeping the main thing the main thing. And for me, the main thing to build generational wealth is taking care of home. For anybody who's familiar with Jay-Z, his I think it was his last album, the 444 album, he has a song on there where he addresses his situation with the Becky and, you know, him and Solange fighting in the elevator. You can't build wealth if you're not taking care of family. Wealth building is for generations. If you ain't created no generation, you don't have a seed, or your family is all broken apart. Although you rich, that's good for you. Or you could get all the money. And I talk about this all the time with my son. You could get all the money, but if you ain't raised the next generation because you've been so busy chasing the bag, that next generation just gonna lose it right away. They don't appreciate it. They didn't work for it like you did. So you got to keep that in mind. Finding what you're passionate about, again, is a journey in itself. You're gonna have to discover and claim some things, and it requires you to have a broad range of interests. How to find your passion, some tips: spend time in silence. You know, take time to kind of inventory your talents and figure out what is it that people say that I'm good at? What are my God-given talents? Think of what you love to do as a child. You got to expand your perspective. Sometimes, and this is a problem in the ghetto, we only know what we know. We know cars. In my case, we knew how to break a bike down front. You know, we knew how to jack cars because we knew cars. You got to expand your horizon. I never was one to go skiing or golfing. Now I understand the importance of it. But, you know, surround yourself with others living in their passion. Let your pain be your purpose. What is it that you went through? Maybe your purpose is to make sure that nobody else feels the pain that you felt. Contribute to something bigger than yourself. My mom always used to tell me, and this is a lesson I keep to this day, when you get to thinking, woe is me and life is hard for you, go to a hospital. Go visit a hospital and you'll leave a little bit more grateful. So for the first one, to find your passion, those are some tips, and you got to make time to feed your passion and chase your passions, not your bag. If you chase your passion, the bag gonna find you. I'm a living testament of that. Point number 2, find your purpose. Your life purpose consists of the central motivating aims of your life, the reasons you get up in the morning. Purpose can guide life decisions. It can influence behavior. It can shape your goals, offer a sense of direction, and create meaning for you. So even though you may be going through a struggle, if you have purpose, that struggle is not going to bring you down. And again, I use the example, a biblical example of Joseph. He went through some hell. Brothers sold him out. He working for Potiphar. Potiphar, that heifer, his wife, falsely accused him of rape. You know, he had finally worked his way up. He was doing good. He gave a vision and helped some people out. They didn't remember him or come back with no gratefulness. But that whole time Joseph was going through, he had purpose in his mind from the visions that God had given him way back in his life, and it wasn't hell for him. You don't hear him saying, woe is me and things like that. You also look at Job. Job was the same way. He went through hell, but when you live your life with purpose, the hell ain't going to really bother you that much, and you will actually use that hell that you're going through for fuel. It's going to make you better. It's going to make you greater. And that's what we got to do. What is it? Remember, I asked you questions earlier. What is it that you've been through that you think, other people haven't been through? And use that. That's your purpose. So I want to pause there because I feel like I've been talking, lips getting chapped and all of that stuff. In this purpose thing, because this one is a big one. I want to make sure I slow down. If you guys are willing, let's talk about it. What have you been through that you would consider hell, but you realize, look, I went through this for a reason. There was purpose in this. Has anybody gone through some things and maybe younger, and now you look back like, oh, that actually gave me a bit of purpose?
I, in a very personal way, I used to do a lot of dumb stuff when I was a kid. I in some way, shape, or form, which, was boosting stuff out of Target, and you know what I'm saying? Got sent to jail for it at a young age, and you know what I'm saying? In my it's no reason why I was, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, it's my college. I went to school, you know what I'm saying? Not saying that has anything to do with it, but it wasn't out of necessity. It was just out of, you know what I'm saying? I thought I was smarter than someone or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to jail, and I eventually ended up, I taught, and I saw, like, in jail how, like, it was a primarily white county. And I saw in jail how, like, they locked up every Black person, like school teacher, just regular, but every white person in jail. I was just like, yo, y'all need to be here. Like, the white people would, like, they would be like, yeah, we stole a liquor truck and ran it into a Walmart, and, like, I'm just like, yeah, y'all deserve to be here. But the Black people would be like, yo, we got tickets, or, marijuana, or, I deserve to be there. I stole, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I did, but it just opened my eyes to really, like, oh my God, like, this is, like, they are really locking us up, like, for nothing. Like, if we get in front of the judge, we're gonna go to jail. Like, it's just like, you know what I'm saying, 7 out of 10 times, as opposed to 3 out of 10 as a white dude or whatever.
No, that's good. So I'm gonna ask you, what are you doing with that? What are you doing with that knowledge now?
So, man, I'm a comedy writer. I think my purpose, I think, or my passion is comedy. I think my purpose is, like, bringing people together. And I think comedy, music, sex, and food are the things that everybody does. You know what I'm saying? No matter the culture. And my thing is comedy. And I think just bringing people together with comedy, and also just exposing people to Black people through film is and just be like, oh, yo, Black people are just people. You know what I'm saying? They just, like, you know what I'm saying? They, like, like, and it's really, part of my French, is really fucked up how we treat them in this country. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. That I think that's my purpose for sure.
Laughter is medicine for the soul. I got that in the book too. Sometimes life is so hard, you got to laugh to keep from crying. And if you can use those experiences, that experience has helped your comedy to develop. That's purpose there. And through your comedy, you can help keep some young folks out of that situation. Like, yo, they ain't playing with you, bro. you get that public defender, you done for. If they got them type of shoes, you done, bro. They like, you don't want that part.
No, man, yeah. You don't want to be doing dumb stuff and it's cool, and you be a gangster and then you in jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah,
you ain't no gangster in jail.
Nah. And even if you are, it's like you're not getting no money. You're not around no girl. You're not doing anything. You're just in jail.
Yeah, and you can reach people through your comedy and keep them from making your same mistakes. So keep that up, brother. Anybody else want to share? I know it takes vulnerability. This is recorded, but I'm gonna keep it confidential at least. I'm an attorney, so I understand the attorney-client privilege, but I want to share. If not, I'll move on. I want to make sure that you all are engaged and have a chance to speak as well. All right, we're gonna move on. After your passion and your calling on, some people will ask, are these the same thing? And my thought is, you might have heard the two used interchangeably, but I think if passion is the energy that fuels you, your calling or purpose is the direction that you're going. So your passion should be pushing you towards your purpose. What nobody tells you about finding your purpose is that, look, there isn't one right answer. You can go to jail to find it. You could go through a depressed state to find it. You could go through a bad relationship to find it. You can go to a bad school. It could be a bad situation. I mean, really, and touching on kind of Joshua's point, all of our lives could change in the blink of an eye by the wrong police stop. Somebody who having a bad day. We saw this in, I like to use movies as an example, The Hate U Give. Man, they whole situation, that young lady's whole life changed in the blink of an eye, and then she had purpose. Like, I got to make sure my homeboy's story is told. So you just have to keep your eyes and your eyes open and your antennas up to look for, what is it that I'm going through and how can I use this for purpose? Chadwick Boseman, which I love, and you know, he was a fellow Howard grad, just very honorable man of integrity. He said this about purpose. Purpose crosses disciplines. Purpose is an essential element of you. It is the reason you are on the planet at this particular time in history. Your very existence is wrapped up in the things you need to fulfill. Whatever you choose for a career path, remember the struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose. And there's a wonderful video out there. I think he said that during the Howard graduation where he gave the commencement speech, and it was just very powerful. So, all right, I'm going to fast forward and move. What are some tips to find your purpose? Again, and look, this is my class, Bible study class. We were looking at Mark chapter 1. And you could learn a lot from Jesus. Jesus used to have to separate himself from the homies and get some solitary time to pray. And so my first tip for you is going to be take time for yourself, search inward, embrace acceptance, focus on what you have, take ownership of your life, examine what already comes easy to you, think about what brings you joy, discover what you love to do, explore your interests, read, start conversations with new people, surround yourself with positive people, listen to feedback, develop your own life vision statement, write out your story. And I'll give you a kind of a story about how I learned this. I was going through work, real stressful environment. My attitude, you know, the man, I'm sick of dealing with these white folks, these white people, you know, they just want to keep their foot on our neck. I'm underappreciated, undervalued. And so I had to get away. And I just took a trip by myself to Jamaica for a week and took a bunch of books with me. When I got back, people asked me what I did. And it was like, you went by yourself? And I'm like, yeah. And it seemed awkward at the time to other people, but I truly enjoyed myself. And so I kept this practice up. And since I've been taking those trips, man, I started 3 very successful businesses, you know, taking a different career path, trajectory. Life has been good. And so I say that to say, look, other people may question your decisions, but you got to find time to spend time with yourself, and you need to prioritize that. That's part of keeping the main thing. Whether you got family or whatever, you don't always need to take somebody on the trip with you. Sometimes you got to get away by yourself. And I could say Jesus was a prime example of that. So can't nobody touch nothing about Jesus. Like, yeah, Jesus did that. Point number 2. Or 3, I'm sorry. Share your passion and purpose with the world. Once you figure it out, hey, you just got to share it. And one thing I know is people don't buy what you do or invest in you because of what you do. They buy or invest because of why you do it. When you're very clear on your purpose, it's going to give you a lot of charisma. People are going to follow you. And that is why you want to share your passion and purpose with the world. This generation likes to say the universe is going to bring you things. Once you know the law, if you've never heard of it, there's this flick on Netflix called The Secret, I think it is. And basically it talks about the law of attraction. I'm a strong believer in that. When you are putting out positive vibes, it's going to attract what you think into you. And so share your passion and purpose with the world. And what you'll find is people say, oh, I got a cousin who do this, or I got an uncle who can help you with this, or so, or whatever. I need to put you with this person. That's what you're interested in. That's your passion. That's your purpose. And just watch how things align. They just naturally align. And so I'm a living testament of that. And I feel like, all right, Charlie, shut up. This is one of those times where you should pause to interact. Anybody ever shared their passion and purpose with the world and saw how things started to align? Come on, talk to us, Mia. You new to the room. We happy to have you. Let's go.
Yes, I found my purpose. It's kind of similar to what you spoke on earlier. I just wasn't in here to come on.
Well, welcome.
When I was a child, my mom committed suicide. And I wrote my book. It's called A Child Left Behind by Suicide, From Darkness to God's Light. And how God took me through that journey to see his light through that tragedy. From my personal experience, but also for others who are suffering with it now. So my book is like, I wrote it with the Holy Spirit. It's giving you insights on ways that you can see death through different ways. Like, it's not even, you know, the struggle behind it, the battle, the warfare. So now that this time has come, God has given me that purpose to start speaking. So now the next book that I'm working on now is now trying to seek God's light. Like, how do you find him? If you don't know, he says, ask and you shall receive. You know, knock and the door will be open. But if you don't know that he's that door, then
I got it. He's a rewarder of those that diligently seek him. Not half-hearted. I tell my people, my students, when you lose your cell phone, back in the day when we would lose our wallet in the club or something because we got too tipsy, that's when you diligently seeking something. Right. You calling folks like, hey man, I leave my cell phone in your car. They'll be like, nah. You'll be like, well, can I come check anyway? Like, that is diligent. Right. You don't just take the first answer. But I hope you guys see how, and you missed it, Mia, but we talked about this. Sometimes your painful experiences can help you find your purpose. She found her painful experience. She found the purpose. And now look, not only do she got her first book, she on the second book. Like, it just aligns for you. And Mia, we should connect because my book is very similar. I'll put it in the chat before we leave this, but you can find purpose in that. Writing down your pain is very therapeutic. And for those that saw it, I told you the first book was about healing. Once you get through the healing, then you can strive. You can go get it. And that's what this is about. I'm trying to help you guys build the generational wealth. So,
and my books actually started from a journal. So when I was being broken down, God was like, get your paper, write what you're feeling. So you're going deep with me. So
you missed this, but mine did too. That we hear, we absolutely hear like a real raw journal of healing, but that is a way to heal yourself. And so Holy Spirit have brought somebody else message to y'all to confirm, look, maybe you need to write some stuff down because we ain't got time to go sit on somebody's couch all the time.
Right. Or afford it.
Yeah, or be able to afford it. So there you go. So share your passion and purpose with the world, and things will align, just like Mia shared her passion and what her purpose was. And guess what? She and I are going to align. We hear that you stay on. The next one is you got to master self-control. This is an important one. One of my struggles and generational curses in my book was smoking. I talk about, everybody I knew smoked. We had in my family, we had a few hypes. I wasn't smoking crack, but for me, I was smoking weed and Black and Milds. And I used to tell myself, well, I'm gonna stop smoking weed, but then I would be smoking a Black and Mild or something like that. And it was just throwing me off purpose. Like, I smoke a black and just be tired. So I got to go to sleep 2-3 hours. I done lost all this productivity and things of this. And so during this period, while I'm writing, I had to keep it real with myself. And I realized, like, look, man, you losing a lot of time. And when I failed, I had to keep it real with myself. Like, you can't lie to yourself in a journal. Like, you just, like, that just don't even feel right to you. Like, yo, why you lying to yourself? Again, that's going to teach you some stuff about yourself too. The next one is master self-awareness, but you got to master self-control. Couple of thoughts to help you guys get their quotes. Aristotle said, I count him braver who overcomes his desires than him who conquers his enemies. For the hardest victory is over self. That is so real. And we talked about this before. I'm going to keep coming back to this. Whether you're a believer or not, you fighting a spiritual battle. You may not realize it, call it spiritual or whatever. You could call it just mental, but there's a fight for your thoughts. Are they going to be positive, full of passion and purpose, or are they going to be negative, full of hate and bitterness and blame about what the previous generation didn't do for you? And until you master that and self-control yourself, you're not going to build no generational wealth. You can be chasing the bag and think you're doing it, but then you're going to trick it all off. When you build generational wealth, you ain't building it to show off. Why you going, I got this saying, why stunt for broke people? They ain't on your level. That's going to raise your self-esteem. You want to stunt on a bunch of broke people? And I'm in Atlanta, so I see this a lot, the posers. And it's funny because the millionaires and the multimillionaires that enter establishments in place will come in with sweatpants and a white t-shirt. And you got the broke person over here who renting an apartment, but they driving a Range Rover, got some 24s on it, and they in debt. They done just filed bankruptcy or something like that. It is crazy. But slavery did a number on us. One of the books that I'm reading is Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. So anyway, I digress. Control yourself or someone else will control you, period. The best training you will ever do is mental training. Wherever your mind goes, your body follows. Wherever your thoughts go, your life is going to follow. Lysandra, I seen you shaking your head when I asked about the Netflix show, The Secret and the Law of Attraction. You know, that's what it is. So your goal is to try to always be in control as much as you can of your emotions and yourself, because some things is out your control. God, but again, as a believer, God is always in control. You ain't in control of nothing. One of the things I learned is you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. You better bend your will to his, because he'll hit you with a curveball real quick. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king or queen, and you'll be treated like one. I always said in today's society, they would call Malcolm X the most negative black man on the planet, laughing out loud. Is truth, negativity. Here's one of the things that, and it's funny you mentioned that. I know, where do we go from here? I'm a Malcolm X man. I got a big picture of Malcolm X, the Empire artist who does the records. They use records to make the painting. I got one of his paintings, big painting, on my wall in my dining room. So I've always been a Malcolm X fan, because I was like, no, that integration screwed us up. Black people need to come together, yada, 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 this and that, boom. But what they fail to tell us is Malcolm X changed his views. He realized the negativity. They killed him after he found his peace. When he went to the Mecca, he changed some things. Like, I'm going to stop blaming the white devil. Yeah, it's truth. It's not necessarily negative, but what do you focus on? What did you get out of that truthful negative situation? Me and mom committing suicide is some truth. And that's negative as hell. You know, but what did you get out of that? And the same thing, I just posted on Facebook. I was yesterday years old, because they always teach us, Martin had a dream. They force our kids to memorize, I have a dream. But what they don't tell us is, excuse my French, this nigga had a whole plan. a whole thoughtful, laid out plan. And where do we go from here? His last book, and ain't nobody tried to implement it. That brother was smart. So I've gained new appreciation for Martin, because at first I thought he was soft, even though I knew he was doing it the Christ way. I'm one of them other generation that's tried Jesus, not me. I know you was doing it right with that nonviolence, and Jesus would have us do that, but I ain't there yet. You know, that's me. So good. Good thing, Darian. Let me see everything you said is accurate today. Everything that James Baldwin said is accurate today. Everything that Martin said was accurate today. It's still, again, man, I don't say this, I'm speaking what I know. Like, these are on the second book I'm working on it. So if you know anything about Baldwin was like, yo, it's like he could have been writing it. He could have been any one of us writing about the police and white people now. Same thing with Martin, same thing with Malcolm. But what do we do with that energy? We got to master our self-control and our actions. And it can't ever be through argument. So that's that point. The next one, moving on. And this kind of goes to that comment. You got to master self-awareness. You have to let go of who you think you should be in order to be who you really are. And that's to walk in your purpose. Self-awareness just means being cognizant of what you're good at. And at the same time, being able to keep it real with yourself and say, I still got work to do here. I just did that for y'all. I can acknowledge that Martin had it the right way, love, but I felt Malcolm more with the let's speak the truth. Y'all white devils, y'all some savages. I looked at what's the movie, Black Messiah, and Judas
Black Messiah, yeah,
Judas
man.
and Black Messiah, and I'm like, yeah, that's horrible, but you know what makes it even more horrible? Because Lakeith Stansfield and Daniel look grown. These were some kids. I'm like, man, y'all killed Fred at 21 years old. Y'all was that scared of a 21-year-old? That would just make it even, had they got some teenagers to play them roles, it would have made it seem even more ridiculous. Like, yo, that's, and I put, they some soulless savages. Like, that is some savagery, what our government has done to us, and they continue to do that. So y'all watch out for Clubhouse and some of that other stuff. Go ahead, Joshua or Darian. I see y'all both off mute.
Oh, that movie was written by a white dude, and nobody wants to talk about that. And they want to tell our stories, and they won't allow us to tell our own stories. And they've been doing that for decades.
Well, let me, see, this is a good example. We could focus on the negativity, or we could get the positive out of it. What I know is, the Black people, we made some money. So Charles King went to Howard Law with me. Charles King runs Macro. The sister, Nija Kuykendall from Warner Brothers, who greenlit it, her sister Lindsay went to Howard Law with me. So there was some Black people involved with that project that's going to further them. That gave them credibility, like, oh, the Black people going to support what she greenlights. And I think Nija, the producer, is like one of very few. And then Shaka King got put on too. So although they ultimately got some money, this the Martin Luther King view now. Although they got some money, we band together, and as allies, we told a very important story that they would otherwise it wouldn't be told, whether a white person wrote the script or not. And then what you see if you go on, watch it on HBO Max, is they have his son, like, we got plenty offers to tell our story, but they always turned them down. And he talks about why he thought they was real authentic and real about it. Matter of fact, he told him, the clip is funny. He's like, I told my guy, Google the worst place in Chicago. And he took the actors and the producers and everybody that was there trying to convince him down there. And he was like, man, they seem comfortable. What is it? K-Town. He took them to K-Town. And, they felt comfortable. And he was like, so we went forward with it, and they worked with the family. So if the family blessed it, I'm of this opinion, Darian, and kind of this mindset. The story is out there. Some people would never have heard of it or saw it. So I ain't going to focus on the negative. I'm glad it's out there. Joshua, you got something? Or are you good? All right. Darian, anything else on that? I'm just giving y'all an example of how you got to shift your mindset if you're gonna build, and that's what that last book is about by Martin. Where do we go from here?
It just bothers me, and I can't help myself that like 80% of our stories are being told by white writers. I mean, white writers wrote Straight Outta Compton. They wrote all these, all these TV shows we've seen on the air. They're all writing our stories, and they're not allowing us as Black writers to get involved in what we want to tell our own stories. They would never allow us to write a Holocaust story or write about the Queen or write Elvis's biopic. But they even hired another white writer to write Hattie McDaniel's biopic. It's just a nonstop. It's nonstop.
I take it you're a writer.
Yeah.
So my question would be, through these hardships, how are you gonna find purpose? What are you going to do about that? One, we don't want to rest in bitter and negative energy. What am I going to do about it? And then two, Darian, to keep it 100, man, slavery did a number on us. That's why I like Kenya and Black AF. That's why I finally started wearing my chains. Like, you know what? People could think what they want to think about a corporate lawyer, but I'm going to be me. And if you know Kenya Barris and Black AF, if you see that every episode is because of slavery, also because of slavery. And sometimes our people think the white man ice is colder, and you just got to understand that's post-traumatic slave syndrome. So I got to navigate that. Even my own people gonna let me down sometimes.
I'm just shocked. I did research on it, and I was shocked at how many of our stories are only being told by white writers.
Don't be shocked. That's just the world. This is
They don't allow their stories. Mexicans get to write their stories. They don't allow their white people, Black people to write their stories.
So that's the master of self-awareness. Is this the game? This the world I'm in? How I'm gonna deal with it? Not just focus on, well, it's no fair. Hell,
no, I wrote a New York Times op-ed about it, man. I wrote a whole op-ed about this whole thing that's going down.
So here's and for the people here, alignment. I'm seeing something, so I'm gonna give you a chance. You're a writer, right?
Oh yeah.
What do you screenwrite? What's your specialty?
I write everything.
All right. So here's what you got to do sometimes. Share your passion, your purpose. You passionate about it. I'm looking for a show Bible. I can send you some information. Yeah, I may not be able to pay you because I already got somebody else who looking on it. But these are the chances. You saying, all right, give us a chance. I write it. Would you? But I'm talking about my story. You got me here. Like sometimes you got to put a little effort. If you're passionate about it, it's not always about the money. If your passion is, I want our stories to be told, you got two dope individuals here with two dope stories. Help us tell our story. And then,
but Charles, Macro. I know Macro too.
So then that may be your way in right there. Write a dope treatment. Write a dope show Bible for me because I do know them. And so then look, when I go to pitch them, Darian wrote this. We got to bring him on. And guess what? That ultimate, and I know he got the power to green light something. Then you're not complaining no more because you know what you done did? The story. Our stories is being told by Darian, a Black man. That's the purpose. Y'all see it? Everybody else see it aligning. But you got to be willing to. Sometimes when you passionate, that's why I said you ain't going to get paid for it. But if you truly passionate about this life, I'm going to help you stop complaining. And I know both of the industry, those are the two green lighters, Just Mercy, because she's with Warner Brothers. He's with Macro. If they bless it, it's good. So you have an opportunity there, and it's all right, what are we going to do about it? Which helps me segue into the next point. Master your fears. Your opinion of yourself becomes your reality. If you have all these doubts, then no one will believe in you and everything will go wrong. If you think the opposite will happen. It's that simple. When we talk about the law of attraction, fear distorts, distracts, and knocks us off our game. We got to move with purpose. And when you're moving with purpose, you can't be afraid of the consequences of failure. You enter action with boldness, Sometimes you move before you ready. And I've done quite a few moves where I wasn't ready. I didn't know what I was doing. And Mia, you probably could relate to this. No, you good. I done laid out an opportunity. I done laid down the gauntlet. Whether you're going to accept it, everybody on this call is looking at you like, all right, you talking. You the writer. You got two people. He just laid out a perfect opportunity. And that's your connection right there. Whether you act on it is a different story. And this is overcoming the generational curses and building wealth. Sometimes you got to take a chance, bet on yourself. You a code writer? Yeah, I do that. Give me your contact information. Give me what I need. I'm gonna write that treatment, you know, and I ain't trying to manipulate you or in any way, but this is how I move. Like when it's purpose, sometimes things come. You shared your passion and your purpose, and the Lord just aligned it right there for you. Like, okay. And I dropped some big names on you. You in the industry, you know, like seriously, Charles is waiting. He knows it's coming. We already done talked in person, through email, all of this stuff. Nigel, they know what I'm working on. And I talked about this, I think, early on if you were here. But sometimes, Mia, did you know how to write a book or publish it?
Absolutely not.
Exactly.
God sent me a mentor to walk me through that.
And the same here. I'm self-taught. I learned some stuff. I'm like, well, y'all could teach me. If I can learn the law, I could figure out. Google is your friend. I bless somebody, another producer. I go to him and ask for a screenwriter. He give me the screenwriter, and then he asked me what's going on. I'm like, yeah, and I just released the audiobook. He like, wait. I've been waiting to try to release an audiobook. How you do that? I'm like, man, I Googled this, Amazon to do this. It was real easy. He was like, you done blessed me. I'm finna do all 9 of my books now. And that things just align up, but you move before you're ready. You figure it out. It wasn't perfect. You know, what do they say? Perfect will get in the way of good or something like that. I'll be tearing up some slogans, as y'all could tell, but hopefully y'all get the point. Take the shot every time. That basket is open. You see the lane open, drive. You may stumble over your feet, but guess what? The ref may feel bad for you and call a foul. Have you a late whistle or something like that. So take the shot every time. The other thing in mastering your fears is completely own it when you screw up. When you airball that 3, you just got to own it. And that's going to teach you, like, yeah, next time I got to make sure I flick the wrist. I'm using basketball references. Go ahead, Joshua. Dorian, you got me preaching and sweating. I feel like the preacher in the church. Like,
no, I was just going to say, if I'm also down to help collab on the show Bible. That's all I was going to say. Talk about shooting your shot. Yeah.
Well, but hey, now see how that works?
It's done, yeah.
That there we go. Mia, we're gonna have to get some, you know, I'm the attorney, so we get some non-disclosure agreements, some non-competes, but we're gonna make it happen. So afterwards, I'm gonna tell y'all, stay on, we're gonna drop some contact information in the chat. In order to succeed, and this is Bill Cosby, in order to succeed, your desire for success should be greater than your fear of failure. You got to move. When you're moving with purpose, you know that you're going to learn from failures anyway. Some of your greatest lessons, as Joshua pointed out, is from mistakes. Man, I was stealing for no reason, but you know what? I found my purpose there. My comedy, I got jokes and jokes for days. I talk about the jail system, all of this stuff. One of my favorite people is Country Wayne. I don't know if y'all know who he is, but that Negro keep me laughing. And if you know his story, man, he was like a drug dealer, got like 9 kids. He put it out there all the time in all his videos, but that gave him so much content. I don't know nobody else on social media putting out more content than him now. To me, he's going to be the next Kevin Hart, if not bigger or funnier, or Dave Chappelle, because he's really learning how to master his craft during this pandemic. Beyonce said this: the reality is sometimes you lose, and you're never too good to lose. You're never too big to lose. You're never too smart to lose. It just happens. And when you come to that realization, it's like, what you afraid of? Everybody done lost. I was listening. I just got turned on to audiobooks, and I was listening to Becoming, and it shocked the heck out of me that Michelle Obama actually failed the bar. I'm like, I never heard that before. These are her words. That for an attorney, that's a major loss. What do you do with that? Do you just quit? And I know some people who, if they failed the bar, they done. But I got a JD, that's good enough. I'm just going to go ahead and get a legal job. They're not going to keep trying again. So you can't be afraid to fail, and you got to master your fears. The next tip, master listening and observing. And in street ghetto terminology, this is, you just got to master the game. You got to learn your instincts is your instincts for a reason. You got to pay attention. In relationships, I tell my students all the time, when people show you who they are, you better believe it. You got to pay attention. My mom always taught me, and I talk about this lesson in the book, don't judge a tree by she says you judge a tree by the fruit it bear. If you ain't bearing no fruit, you could do a whole bunch of talking, but what's the results that this person keeps bringing about? And they keep bearing certain fruit, then doggone it, if you keep seeing apples, that's an apple tree. Don't let nobody tell you it's an orange tree or anything else. It's an apple. I don't care what they think, you're an apple tree. So you got to judge the tree by the fruit it bears. And when you master and listen and observing, the chances are, everybody on this call, we probably think we're pretty good listeners. People's appraisal of their listening skills is much like their assessment of their driving skills. Everybody think they a great driver, but in truth, we all ain't good drivers. Most people think they're good listeners because of three things. They're not talking when others are speaking. They're letting others know they're listening through facial expressions and verbal sound. Yep. Oh, yep. And being able to repeat what others have said almost practically word for word. I'm here to tell you that don't make you a good listener at all. There's other skills, and I would invite you, and I can share some books that'll teach you about listening. But the more you have subsumed your desire to shine in a conversation, the more you will shine in the other person's eyes. And I've learned this in corporate America. Sometimes I'll just shut up and listen. And sometimes, and most of the time when I do that, especially if it's a first time conversation, it'll get back to me, or those people will say, this was such a great conversation. And I'm thinking, I ain't said nothing. I just a peep game the whole time. But psychologically, that's how it is. A lot of times we just want to be heard. And I am good about that. Darian, I would have let you go on for 20 minutes if I didn't have a whole workshop and a purpose to get through. I would have listened to your whole story. And I do this with my students so that I could find out a way how I can help you. That's part of my purpose, to try to bless others and help them capitalize on their God-given strengths and make a better life for themselves. That's practically why I'm here for this workshop. But because I had a workshop, I kind of had to interject. Had you given me more, I probably would have found other ways that I could have helped you as well. The highest and best form of listening comes in playing the same role as the other person, like a trampoline plays for a child. It gives energy, acceleration, height, and amplification. And I don't know if you noticed it, Darian, but that's what I did with you. I listened with a purpose. How can I help this conversation further along? And ultimately, we got to, okay, we know what we need to do. Now it's either you're going to do it or you ain't. But if in listening to you, it was, well, Black people need to tell Black stories, Black writers. And what I'm looking for in listening, how can I help you get there? Here's the amplification here. You got two people with great stories. Boom. And you can write them stories. And then your purpose, a Black person telling a Black story, is achieved. So it's almost like feeding energy. That is a good conversation. It's not just listening and because your haters will just listen and and they can repeat every word, and then guess what they're gonna do? And go and repeat every word to somebody else, one of your enemies, or as the young folks say, one of your ops. So it ain't just listening and looking and not talking. Sometimes the snakes is the people that's not talking when you're speaking. They just listening. You might want to be thinking about, well, who am I talking to and who am I sharing this information with? Because it may go somewhere else. So that's the highest and best form of listening. You want to be a trampoline. It's an interaction, and that conversation should have a purpose. If I tell my students this, don't listen and just let somebody dump their garbage on you. And men, we deal with this a lot. If you got a spouse, girlfriend, significant other, sometimes you have to figure out, you just want me to listen? Or are you trying to get to a solution? You want to answer. You want to be very clear in your communication, because sometimes people just want to dump on you. And that's fine if people, sometimes you're going to be the therapy to just listen to people. But then in your mind, you can also kind of tune out and know they don't want no solution. They just venting. So I got to guard my own spirit to make sure your negative emotions don't affect me. I'm going to sit here and listen, but I'm going to be thinking about something else to guard myself. After this conversation, I'm going to go get some ice cream and feel good about myself. But I'm not finna transfer that energy, but I could do the, dang, that's messed up. Yeah, dang. But I am not going to feel that. So you got to protect yourself. Proverb, here's some quotes for you. No one is as deaf as the man who will not listen. Malcolm X says the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. And by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. So you need to master listening and observing so that you can learn how you need to move. It's chess, not checkers. I wish my people would get this. And the final tip, master the skill of gaining influence. You want to understand what it is that motivates the specific people in your life or a specific person, and you want to find out the best way to secure their support. They say there's a saying, if you want to go fast, go it alone. If you want to go long and survive, go with other people. And so when you move in with others, sometimes you're gonna have to move alone. Let me put that out there, because everybody ain't gonna see your vision. God put you here for a reason, and it takes time trying to convince other people of your vision. And to the point, Darian, that's why I'm like, I talked to Charles months ago, but I'm gonna show you better than I could tell you. Just like Kenya had to show him better than he could tell them as well. Like, I'm gonna keep moving. I'm not gonna spend a whole bunch of time trying to show my vision to you. You're gonna see the vision. And that's why we have to keep walking. I'm preaching on, I'm preaching. We walk by faith, not by sight. Yes. And that's real. Sometimes you're not gonna see it, but you gotta keep going. But when you master the skill of gaining influence, you want to understand what motivates the person. And you also want to think in your mind, and I just kind of naturally do this because it's part of my purpose. So it's natural for me. When you have a conversation, you want to ask, how can I help you? It's not always about what I could get from people. It's just like, how can I bless you? And if you go into conversations, your interactions with that mindset, what you're going to do is you're going to gain influence. One of my favorite shows on Netflix, because I had no idea, is The Black Godfather. And it's so funny about Clarence Avant. And you see how Clarence was uneducated and he just rolls and rolls and rolls. The documentary is like, you got the Obamas on there. He done helped every president, all of these stars. And it just came from helping people. That's all it came from. And he gained tremendous influence. Ironically, when we talk about alignment, I've sat down. After I watched that show, I was like blown away. Like, that's what I'm trying to do. I just want to help my people come up, as many people as I can. And people hear this, God aligns your purpose. I ended up sitting down at the Beverly Hills Polo Club with Clarence Avant, having lunch and sharing my vision with him last year. And this is like the crazy, I got the picture and everything, like out of nowhere. But I only share that story with you, not to brag or to stunt, but to show you when you follow these things, these laws, and that's why I'm writing them out and putting them in my second book, things start to happen. I keep looking at you, Lysandra. I'm going back to you. It's like the law of attraction. It's gonna come to you. You just gotta master these skills, and a lot of it is dealing with yourself. I'm gonna stop there. 7:47. Tamika, you come on and tell me when I'm supposed to stop, because I could do this all day. It's Friday night. I love talking to people, and if y'all leave me alone, I'm gonna go to each of y'all. How can we help each other? But I'll pause there, and if Tamika don't come on, let's talk. What do you think about the tips? Whatever we talked about. Jayla, we ain't heard from you. You getting some work done? I appreciate you being on camera though, so I ain't gonna bother you too much. But what's up?
Okay, well, this is my first time, and this is actually my daughter's Zoom. I'm Jennifer. That's my name. Okay. And I actually liked it. This is my first time listening. I'm a speech therapist, and all your tips, I think, I've thought about all of those tips before. So I really appreciate you taking the time out to do this, and I've learned a lot.
Oh, thank you for joining us. Where are you located?
In Little Rock, Arkansas.
Oh, Arkansas! All my country people come through. I got some cities, but I'm country too. Little Rock, Arkansas. Pine Bluff.
Are you from Pine? You have people in Pine Bluff?
I had a homie who went to Arkansas Pine Bluff. He was from Pine Bluff, and that was my guy. So I have an affinity for Arkansas.
Okay, well, yeah, that's good. Mm-hmm.
What brings you? This is my first time too, by the way, y'all. Again, aligning. I didn't know nothing about Creative Con or nothing like that. Somebody sent me an Instagram post and was like, "Look, you just produce your book. This would be good for you." And I just followed through. I believe in being a person of action, because you never know where that would lead. And they just put me on the website like 2 days ago, although they had my money and I said I was going to be a part of it. Tamika could attest to this. So this is just one of those faith things. I didn't know what to expect, but I do know Zoom. Like I'm on Zoom all the time. So this is great. And you're a speech therapist.
Yes.
So you work with the kids on articulation and all of that stuff with the cues and yes. Yeah.
I was actually invited by Jerica. I think she's on here. She's our agent. Mm-hmm. And my husband and I own the company. We own our own therapy company. Okay. And so we are in the process of writing a book about milestones for children. Mm-hmm. We created some flashcards and things like that. And so Jerica kind of pushed me into creating, some workbooks for parents and educators and things like that. So she thought that this would be a really good opportunity to learn more about writing and, things like that. So I'm excited.
So Jerica and you, one of the hustles, because of, and Mia, you will appreciate this, because I went through the process, I created I don't believe in no blind hair, blue-eyed Jesus, and I'm not going to give that to my kids. I couldn't find a book. And so I ended up creating a Kickstart, one of those Jamaica vacations I told y'all about. I read this book, The $100 Startup, and it gives you some game of how to bring out a idea or whatever and market it. So long story short, I created a Kickstarter campaign. It was successful, sold a bunch of these little brown Bible storybooks with a black Jesus, and all of the characters were more accurate. And afterwards, we created some more books, because my mom used to live with me, and she'd come downstairs. My kids would come downstairs and she'd write these little stories to, again, healing. She had dementia, and they told her, you need to write and use your brain. So she was journaling and writing stories, ended up publishing some of the kids' books. They were wildly successful. So now I have a children's book publishing company that this is how my mom eats, because she's publishing books for all her older friends. And when we talk about building generational wealth, this is how you do it. But it came from sharing a passion and purpose with the world. And then my mom was able to run off, like, we got the trade secrets. We know the printer, we got the graphic designer, all of this stuff. So I share that with you just in case your agent is on that aligns with y'all. Jarika, we could publish all your stuff professional with ISBNs in the library and all of that stuff. And this ain't no Rudy Toot. Like, my graphic designer is dope. He's that dude, black, everything black on black, Darian. So anyway, yeah, thanks for coming on though. Lashandra, Lysandra, we ain't heard from you. Tell us about what you got going on. I want to see how I can help y'all as long as y'all stay on and listen to me.
I'm a self-published author.
Okay.
I published 3 books last year. I write in the Christian fiction genre, working on a 3-series collection where the books intertwine within the 3 series. So that's what I'm doing. The writing is easy. It's building the platform that's hard.
Building the platform as far as to market it or to actually put it out there to the world, like publish the books?
No, I'm on KDP. I did my own research. So that part was pretty easy and simple. It's building the platform, getting the readers out there to market it, and just staying on top of that and writing at the same time.
Okay. Christian fiction. That's interesting. I'd like to know more about that because my memoir is 3 parts. This part, healing over the generational curses, the death of Mr. Good Game, which is already out there. The second book is more about striving, which I gave y'all the tips, and I'm gonna the first book is the TV series Show Bible. So Joshua, Darian, listen up. It's essentially Insecure, because I was single at that age, mixed with a little bit of Greenleaf, because I'm struggling. I'm still going to church, but I hit a thought real quick and she throwing it too easy. That's the struggle there. And I'm still smoking quiet on the low, but I know I need to live for God and find my purpose. The second one is, all right, you this big time tech attorney, you're a family man now, but you're dealing with these white folks and you learning some lessons in corporate America. And so that's where I kind of, these keys to success, that is the same series. What am I looking for? That season. So season 2 is more like Blackish. You're going to see how I'm trying to build generational wealth at home with the family. I just shared the story with y'all about how I came about publishing children books in addition to my own, to where I don't believe in giving people fish. I'm a voracious reader. So there's this book out here. Y'all might want to write this down if you haven't read it. The Richest Man in Babylon. So I'm the first attorney in my family. I'm the first one to make it out the hood. So, if you don't know, what you should expect is everybody think you rich and want to come to you with money and ask for money. What the Richest Man in Babylon taught me is ask for a business plan on how they're going to pay you back. That's going to run all of the people off. and it has. Like, people know I'm serious about my money. I'm trying to build generational wealth. I will help anybody. I'm a philanthropist by every account. You can just Google all of that. But I ain't stupid with my money. And that's how we handle it. But Blackish will deal with those issues. And it's funny, as we was watching Blackish, it's like I've had the nephew fresh out of prison that I had to send in the transfer for because he was in Wisconsin. I'm saying he gonna stay with me and all of this stuff. And he came and helped him get a job, and he screwed that up. That institutional mindset is crazy. It's different. But the second season would be like Blackish. So you got home life, family, extended family life, and then just like he go in and deal with the white folks in corporate America and learn some lessons, that's that. The third season, and I'm kind of transitioning into that in my real life now, is Black AF. Now I'm rich. I don't care what y'all think. I'm not beholden. I'm moving with no fear because I'm not, I got Joshua, the security and the peace and the joy now. I found my purpose and I'm Gucci. I ain't beholden, mortgages and all that stuff. We ain't worried about nothing. Like, I'm gonna speak my truth and nobody's gonna keep me from my truth. So that's the 3-part series. Lysandra, I brought that up because I would love to read your fiction because I think that fits in the first part because I've never heard of Christian fiction. Like, tell me a little bit more because I know my story was scandalous. That's why I said it's Insecure mixed with Greenleaf. So I've never heard of Christian fiction. I want to know, what is that?
Oh, it's a big genre. It's been around for a long time. And there are different types. So you may fit into the urban Christian fiction, where it's not
The ghetto.
no, I'm not saying that. It's just not so sweet and homey, you know. And my fiction isn't like that either. I'm not too urban, but I still have real people, real talk. You know, there may be some profanity in there. There's not going to be any erotic sex scenes or premarital sex. They try to keep that out of the books. But I feel like that's all real and relevant. So I don't, if it falls into my story, it's going into my story.
Amen.
So I write about everyday people trying to live their best life. And I really think it's time for a new genre. I mean, not so far left where it goes all the way to Christian, but not so far where it goes all the way into erotica, just real life. So, but Christian fiction is out there. It's been out there for a long time.
Mine ain't fiction, mine nonfiction, but pick up my book and I'm that balance. It ain't but it's real.
Right.
You know,
real,
it's
relevant.
For them to keep premarital sex out of a Christian novel. That ain't real. I tell my students, look at the churches. They was wilding in Corinth. Paul had to tell them, man, look, y'all is scandalous. He had to go from issue to issue. So that's not real to think for Christians to be perfect. Like that just blows me, and that pushes people away, because a lot of Christians, what did they say? They so heavenly something that they know earthly good. Like you just a saint, like you wasn't no thought back in high school. Come on, you had trains ran on you, sister so-and-so, deacon wife. Tell the young girls what you went through, the pain that you experienced, how you not forgiving yourself for some stuff. Don't try to hide it and dress it up, because you ain't hiding nothing but yourself. And one of the reasons I'm so able to relate to my students and they come to me with real stuff and open up is because you have to be vulnerable first before, you know, somebody feels comfortable. You got to create that safe space. And my problem with the church is we done got so holy. Lady J, I see you. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I come in late, so I do apologize for that, but you all are doing a fantastic job, and I'm just excited to be a part of this to get some more information. All right.
Look, you done missed all the information, Lady J. So how can we help you? You good? How can we help you? This the help session now. What are you doing?
Well, I'm just trying to I want to do my autobiography, and it's been difficult for me. There's some trying that I have to relate in it, and that's the part I'm waiting on. I bought it in pieces and put it in pieces, and now I got to put it together. And that's been the difficult part, because it brings back some flashbacks in it. And that's where I am. And it's to share with people, everyone, my story, so that if anybody goes through what I've gone through, they'll know how I was able to come out on the other side.
Well, you got two people on here that have done that thing, myself and Mia, and you in the right place. It's best to be timely though, sister. You missed all look, you could be late for a blessing.
3 meetings at the same time, so I tried to get a little bit in all of them, so I apologize.
No, you good. I'm just a realist though. Like, yeah, for real, you done missed a whole bunch of questions.
You just get no, that's all right. It's okay. I got you. I understand. So yeah, you later, don't show up hours. I was gonna be quiet.
No, I believe in bringing people in, because too many times, you know, at least for me, I'm in spaces where if I don't speak up, they good with not giving me a voice. And I believe in giving people voices. Darian, you could appreciate that. Jerika, the agent, the super agent, come on and tell us a little bit about yourself. What I'm trying to develop is we all hear what each other is doing. I want you guys to get in the mindset of thinking, how can I connect with that person and help them? How can we help each other? Like Darian said, he know he doesn't talk to Issa. I'm trying to, hey, you gonna be my writer anyway, unless you just jaw jacking, as we say in Milwaukee. That's been people who bump their gums. They talk a lot, but they ain't gonna execute on nothing. But I'm gonna be positive and think, Darian, we gonna execute. And see, that's another path in right there. Issa, Charles King, and Naja, we got Hollywood on lock. Mia, you ready? I'm definitely connected with Darian. Like, this is what I came here for. Exactly. And Joshua. Look, Joshua actually raised his hand. So if Darian jaw jacking, I know Joshua got me. So I ain't tripping. I done laid out verbally kind of the plan where we finna go. I want to see these treatments, show Bibles, whatever it is, because what I'm gonna tell you, and we talked about this with Faith, I'm gonna make it there, period. There's no doubt in my mind. I can only pray for God's grace and mercy that he give me enough time on this earth to make it there, but I'm gonna make it there. If I'm alive, this ain't something that I'm not gonna make. Like, Darren, you could have your name on the screen, brother. Joshua, you could have your name on the screen, brother. That's just the energy that I move with. That's the passion and the purpose. So I'm not just telling y'all something and I don't believe in it. I strongly believe in it. So, all right, I'm sorry, Jerika, let's go, super agent.
Hi, my name is Jerica Brown. Oh, you're fine. You're
tore the name up. Gosh.
Fine, I'm used to it. I actually started out with AAMBC, Tamika Newhouse, and Laquita were are really good mentors for me. I did the brand ambassador program, and then I was the project manager for them as well. So I'm well connected in, you know, everything that they were able to provide. But I am a self-published author. I wrote my first book, Confessions. It is a memoir of mine, basically empowering young girls of how to come. Even though whatever cards you're dealt with, you can always overcome whatever you dealt with and become whatever you want to be. So basically, I share my struggles about being a college mom. I share my struggles about not having a babysitter, depression, going to therapy, sexual abuse, molestation at a young age. And then I said that even though we deal with all of these things, we can always overcome and become better and do better because we want to, not because somebody tells, you know, we conform to the cards that we're dealt, we make the life that we want to make. So that's what that book is about. And then I also self-published 2 business books so far. I'm actually working on my third publication, well, my 4th publication, which is a self-help guide to sexual abuse and assault. So Ms. Marks is actually, with her being a client of my agency, I assist them overall with, you know, their business. And then she saw my workbook and I was like, well, hey, we could do this for your occupational therapy, you know, for what you guys do for therapy, and actually bridge the gap between the schools and the therapists, or the schools and having kids with struggles. So that was just kind of another avenue that we, you know, came up with so they can maximize it. I knew about Creative Con. They do it every year. It's just as well as Black Writers Weekend. So I was like, okay, well, we're going to tap into this. So there's a growth aspect there. That's me.
I love it. So I was preaching to the choir with you, and I'll just offer this out there for you and your business. Where are you located?
My headquarters is in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Okay. Oh, all right. Y'all in Arkansas. Well, I like to help my people on contracts and all of that stuff on the side. So attorneys and all of that stuff you need, because attorneys is very expensive. They be trying to gouge our Black people. So I try to make myself available as much as I can for reasonable prices for people. And sometimes pro bono, if I really, really love you. It's really, really easy. So I'll just put that out there, and let me put all of my stuff out here before, because we just lost one person. I'm not sure of the timing. When is this over? I've been running.
They do have another workshop at 8 Eastern with Phoenix, the Art of the Sword.
Okay.
So I think that's happening maybe right now.
Okay. Well, I don't want to hold you guys unless y'all want to stay with me. Darian and Joshua, my stuff is right there. Mia as well. Anybody who wants to network, hit me up. Let me know this is where we connected. And let's stay in touch and be positive and walk in our purpose. I'm telling y'all, I would invite y'all too. This is a shameless plug. The Death of Mr. Good Game, my struggle to get sober, is it sounds like it was a journal just like everybody else. That is a very therapeutic healing process. But in that book, a lot of the stuff that we talk about that our Black people deal with, I talk about how I overcame it in my book. And I think there's some great networking opportunities, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you all. I'll be looking for Darian. I'm gonna judge you. I'm gonna judge you by your fruit. Now, I'm gonna see. I'm looking for your.
All right, look for me. But my question is this: what do you want from me? You want a treatment, or do you already have a Bible?
I want a treatment, show Bible. I think I've been told if I go for the TV series, it's a show Bible. A treatment is for a movie, but we can do it all. If they think they could condense it into a movie, I'm good with that too.
Yeah, show Bible, you're gonna have to like find all the pictures of your characters, how you vision it, and all that stuff. That's kind of like the show Bible.
I mean, we could talk about it. That's we help each other. That's what a good writer does. He don't say you just like me as an attorney. Sometimes the law ain't or the facts ain't on my side. You know what I got to do? I got to go in there and make it happen.
Yeah. All right. Treatment and show Bible. You're gonna need both.
Joshua, I'm looking for you too. I ain't leaving you out because you raised your hand.
All right, brother. Let's go, man. I'm gonna email you either tonight or tomorrow, and we'll set it up for sure. For sure.
All right. And look, I'm gonna get my sister in there. Mia's story is sound like it's dope. So look, Mia, I share a non-disclosure agreement with you that you could share, so y'all don't try to write this dope treatment show Bible and run off with our stuff. I come after you like a dog. I got the streets in me. Don't let these glasses fool you. Like, I got some killers. I told you I'm from Milwaukee. Like, I tell people, they're like, oh, what part of Milwaukee? I'm from the part where all the killers, when they caught a body in Chicago, would come hide in my neighborhood. That's where I'm from. Like the 53206. You just Google 53206. You're going to see they make movies about where I'm from. It ain't sweet. So, people see me all polished. I told y'all, Black AF got me like, where are you? Yeah, wear your chains. The hell with what people think, man. The definition of an attorney could be different, and that helps young people. They like, you look like that, you really attorney? And all I have to say is Google me. You gonna see, like, I'm up there. I ain't no slouch, and it's not bragging, but it's being an inspiration for people. And you guys have inspired me just by being here. I could have had 2 people and been talking to myself. So I thank y'all. This is I appreciate it, and I want to be of help. I really do. I'll pause there.
I'm gonna email you. So.
Okay.
I was gonna say, do you want me to email too?
Yeah. You know what? Because we gonna email each other, and I want us on one thread. Because what I'm gonna do is share. We're gonna do like some kind of non-compete, non-disclosure agreement on the legal side. That's me. And Darian and Joshua, I will offer myself to you guys as an attorney, because if you writing, you need to learn how to protect your intellectual property. Y'all do a solid for me. This solid for. That's why I say sometimes faith is moving. I know the value of my services. I live a very, very good life. You know the value of your service. You know how much time it would take to put together a treatment or a show Bible. I will draft up an agreement to protect Mia, so nobody takes her story, protect me, take my story. You guys do this, you got legal services. You got access to a top-notch contractual attorney. I ain't no Johnny Concrete, so you get in criminal stuff. I'm corporate all the way, but I negotiate billion-dollar agreements every day for Microsoft. with any major corporation you could think of. That's what I do. So doing non-disclosure and the transactional agreements, regular IP entertainment law stuff, this about to sound real arrogant, but what I'm doing is here, and that's like beneath me. So you do something for me. Oh, I could do and I do this all the time on the side. Sometimes now I had to start charging some people because they'll abuse it. But you do something for me, yeah, you got a contract with somebody else completely separate from me. I'll look at it and review it. I'll do track changes. I'll tell you if it's smart or if it's not smart, what you should do. I'll even get on the phone for you. I can't risk my good corporate job by people want me to do this, say you my attorney and this and that. No, I'm gonna keep it real, but I'll let you know you ain't gonna take advantage of my peoples, and I'm in their ear advising them, and then I'll give you my name, Google me. And that has helped several people get much better deals than what they got going on. I know a lot of people, in Atlanta, everybody want to be a rapper, so I'm negotiating these music and production contracts and all of that stuff for people on the side. So I offer that. I look forward to networking with y'all. I'm gonna go grab something to eat.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, y'all. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, King. I'll let you later.